7BD Boca Raton, the Health and Wealth Radio Network.
Gallbladder problems, gingivitis, a bad back, indigestion, fatigue, low libido, not sleeping well, need to lose weight. Just some of the topics you'll hear about. Hi, I'm Dr. Bob Martin. Join me Sunday mornings at 10 on Talk 1470. WNN.
Canatelli Builders Incorporated reminds us that drugs are a problem that affect the entire family. They ruin lives, break hearts and homes, and destroy childhood dreams. Parents, make it a priority to talk to your kids about drugs. It may be the most important decision you make. From Canatelli Builders Incorporated, a company dedicated to the quality of life in the communities where their customers and employees live. That's Canatelli Builders Incorporated, 2101 Northwest 33rd Street, Pompano Beach. Call 954-977-2775. 954-977-2775. The opinions expressed on the following sponsored program are strictly those of the host, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its staff, management, or sponsors. Do you have enough light in your life? Are you soaring in the joy around you? Are you stuck and unable to make life happen? Stay tuned for the Rabbi Jenny Show, where you will learn how to bask in the light and find more joy and meaning in life. Call to talk to Rabbi Jenny at 888-565-1470 and email questions and comments at rabbijenny.com. And now, if you're ready, stay tuned for the rabbi who will light your world on fire, Rabbi Jenny.
Hey everyone, happy Wednesday. It's Rabbi Jenny. We're so glad you're here at the Rabbi Jenny Show. Our topic today is divine value and divine worth. We are available live on Facebook, and if you're watching, hey, I'm so glad you're here. Also, you can catch us on 1470 AM and 95.3 FM. And let's see, you can go to rabbijenny.tv, and you can always go on YouTube and watch some old episodes. This will be one you'll want to play many times because it's got me thinking, today's topic. It's got me thinking. Want to remind you before we go forward, if this is your first Rabbi Jenny Show, so this may be your first time hearing the two main ideas of this show, but I want you to take them in. And if you're not new, welcome back, and let me remind you one more time with my very persuasive voice of these two main ideas. I want you to make these part of the paradigm of your life, and they will help shift everything in your perspective. The first main idea is this, listeners. The world is happening for you and not to you. The world is happening for you and not to you 100% of the time. And why? Because of idea number 2. You are divine love, light, energy. You are a piece of it all. You're a piece of life, creation, force, and you are always expanding and always growing. So whatever has come into your life is coming into your life to do that for you. So it may feel different or it may seem different on the outside, but the truth and reality is that you are always expanding and always reaching towards your destiny if you allow it. And therefore, if you look at what's happening as it's happening for you, it will do that for you. So we try to encourage you to have that kind of mindset on the Rabbi Jenny Show, because the moment you do that, you step into a different realm. You know, if everything's happening to you, you become a victim, and therefore you're on the fate path. And you know what that means. Everybody else is deciding your life for you. Boring, right? We want to co-create. We want to co-create as much as we can with the laws of the universe, which is what makes us equal players in life. And that is our divine worth and value, which is the inspiration. Let's see. The inspiration for the show is Torah, always, right? We're always in the Torah in the Rabbi Jenny Show. And this week, we are in Exodus. We're in the portion Kitisa, and we are right at Exodus 30, and they have built the sanctuary. Moses has built the sanctuary. And the most amazing thing about Scripture and looking at Scripture with new eyes, which is what I always recommend, any book that you read it again and look at it with new eyes. But Scripture, the Torah, is always fun to do that because new things come out every time you do that. And there's such wisdom in there and juicy stuff in there if you do that, because you will not need to look at the past. You can look at it with those fresh eyes. And I think the Scripture is meant to be read that way. So this week, Moses has dedicated the sanctuary, and we've worked for a long time. The members of the tribe that were with him were asked to go into their hearts and bring their best skills and their best materials to come build this sanctuary to a certain standard and certain dimensions. And what's happened now is everybody's going to be offering a offering of atonement, a financial offering, which is very interesting. And because money is an easy way to show one's value or one's worth. And as we talk about parable or scripture or story, when you use money, it doesn't necessarily reflect money, but it might reflect an idea. And the coolest thing in this week's scriptures, I believe it reflects this idea. And this idea is that you are all worth the same. We are all worth the same in God's eyes. Our divine value, our divine worth is exactly the same as everyone else. And how do we know this in today's scriptures? Because what happens in Torah is Moses says this: everybody's going to give a half a shekel. Everybody. Everybody above 20 years old gives a half a shekel. Doesn't matter how rich you are, and it doesn't matter how poor you are. You're going to give a half a shekel. Rich people aren't going to give more, and poor people aren't going to give less. And what is the message in that? The message in that is that our material value, I believe, may be better or worse than someone else, but our divine value, our value as an offering, our atonement, or at one-ment with God, is all the same. And what that does for us is it puts us on equal footing. It makes our ability to set expectations for ourselves easier because we're no longer competing against external things. We're looking at things on the inside, like what is our value? What is our worth? And this topic has really set me off, because we live in an externally based society, especially here in the United States. We base our opinions, our value of ourselves a lot on what's going on outside of us. So if anything, this Rabbi Jenny Show, I'm extremely excited to get you thinking about, how do I judge my value? How do I judge my worth? Is it based on what other people think? Is it based on what I own or what I have or what I've accumulated? Is it based on what I've achieved and how well I've achieved it? How many people I have surrounding me, loving me? What is your value and how do you judge your worth? And how many of those things do you judge your worth by that you were just programmed by someone else? Someone else told you that that's what makes you valuable. Someone else told you that that's what makes you worthy. And it could be something else. It could be the television. It could be radio. It could be anything telling you that this is how we value. But Torah does not say that. Torah says in an offering of atonement to God, we all give half a shekel. We all have the same value because you know what? You can't run or outrun the laws. I study Caroline Myss. I listen to her teachings all the time. She's a wonderful teaching of the mystical and divine laws, but we can't outrun those. We're all equal. You can't buy enough shoes and you won't have to, pass on. We all age. We all have those same laws of what you give, you receive, what goes out comes back to you. What's in the one is in the whole. The law of attraction, all of those mystical laws apply to us at all times. So you may have tons and tons and tons and tons of stuff on the outside, but if you are not giving with your heart, if you're not loving with your heart, if you're not working from a pure space of learning and loving, then that's going to come back at you. It may not come back at you in the area of stuff because that's not really what we're talking about here. That's really low level, low vibration stuff. It's going to come back on you with how you feel. It's going to come back on how you're actually treated because that's really how it all works, And this is kind of exciting stuff, if you ask me, because what this says is all bets are on. If the field is equal, if everybody's the same in the eye of the divine, then even an act of a simple smile, even the choice to spread love to another person, and noticing it within yourself is an opportunity to raise your own self-worth, self-value in the eyes. Because we're so busy. I see so many people, including myself, like, I'm not there yet. I haven't been there yet. I haven't done that yet. But if we simply looked at the simple little things that we do every single day and started to judge our value on a different playing field, I did some research on the internet. There's a couple things I want to tell you because I'm always reading stuff on the topic. And I read this article about what we actually decide our value on in our culture. And they gave me this list of a few things. We decide our value on others' opinions, which I talked about. Also the stuff we can acquire and how fast we can acquire. We also judge our value on our IQ and on how smart we are instead of maybe how heart smart we are, which is going to go into our true value. And then our accomplishments, like how many degrees or letters we have on the wall, right? And then flash stuff. Those are the top things in our society that we value ourselves. And I thought, well, what should we be measuring ourselves by? And how often do we sit back and think, what should I measure myself? Or how should I value myself? And it really, I looked up a lot of quotes. I was reading a lot of stuff about it. And I thought, I don't know. I want to look at qualities that I wish for myself to improve upon. and look at this word value, and maybe with our guests play a little game with this word value. Because value, I love playing with letters and I love playing with words, and I love getting you to think about different ways to judge your own self-worth and value so you can achieve a level of esteem to step out towards your destiny and your dreams. Because the truth is if once you see, oh, I'm just worth the same thing as them, that means that if I step 1 foot outwards toward my destiny will step 1 foot. It has nothing to do with the car I drive. It has to do with what's going on inside. That's huge. So let's look at this word value just for fun. And I want you to think about it at home. And you can go to me on Facebook if you think of cooler words for these 5 letters. But I thought of neat things for our personal value that we can think about. And the first letter in value or divine value, V, is V. And I really think one of the most important things that I value or that I think we can value is veracity or truthfulness. The ability to be truthful, to not share half-truths. The ability to come from love but speak your truth and live in the world of truth. Not what's true for you, but the truth in world. So veracity and truthfulness is like sort of my V word for value for right now. I also thought of voice. Like, what do we do with our voice? Are we spreading words of kindness, or are we using our voice to tear people down or tear ourselves down? So let's look at our value through our voice. We also look at the A, the second letter of value. And I was thinking, adaptability. How quickly do you move about during change? How quickly can you move with the flow? And the other word I thought of was appreciation. Do you appreciate the things around you? Do you offer words of appreciation? Do you sit in appreciation of the world around you? And if you believe, mystically, you're a piece of the divine, a piece of the whole, that moment of appreciation of everything around you actually affects everything around you. It will actually shift the way things look, the way things seem, and everything will change. So that improves your value. We have L, one of my favorite Hebrew letters, Lamed, which we're going to talk about, the last letter of the shekel, or what we're paying for our value, but also one of my favorite English letters because it stands for love and it stands for light. And your value is the amount of love you give and the amount of light you spread. And that's a totally different way of judging us because sometimes it has absolutely nothing to do with any of those other 5 things that we talked about. How often are you letting the people you love know that you love them? And that's for shizzle. You know what I'm saying? Like, how often is that going on? And every time that you do that, I'm not saying every time you do go, oh, look at me, but you might make a note of it. Instead of telling yourself over and over what you're not, make a note of all the wonderful things you do all day long. Appreciate yourself. Love yourself. Shine light upon yourself. And then we have U, which is a tricky letter, so I'm hoping maybe my guest can come up with a good one because I think she's a wordsmith. But U, I thought understanding. Our ability to understand others. Our ability to understand them from a perspective of where they're coming from and not where we are coming from. How do you allow your understanding of others to affect your perspective of the world around you? And how does that add value to who you are? Because when you do that, you're actually looking towards the truth and you're not allowing your personal opinions to shade things. And so things can evolve in a more genuine way. So that increases your value. Also a U word I thought of, usefulness. Are you laying on the couch? Not that that's such a bad thing if you're just hanging out, but make some use. Do something, And I'm telling you, a smile goes a long way. So usefulness for value. And my last English letter for value is E. And empathy for others, the ability to understand them, and endurance, the ability to keep moving forward towards what your goals are. These are different things to think of to value yourself by. So every time you start to think about yourself, I want you to try to shift. If you have your Jenny journal, which I hope you do have your journal by now, because that's the number one tool of this show, get yourself a journal and start to note every single time you're judging yourself on external things. Every single time in your life, you are thinking of yourself as an external being. How many times it's about what someone else thinks, what you're putting on your body. something outside of you and start to look at what's inside, what's going on inside. Because the wonderful thing about the human heart is it is like a garden. You can grow things in it. You know, you may be like, Jenny, I don't feel like there's anything inside of me. It's easy for me to wear a nice shirt or we just put on some jewelry or look at my degrees or whatever it is that's easy for you. But if we water some of those little things, like those nice words that you said to someone today, it's going to grow into a beautiful flower and show you what an amazing piece of divine creation you are. We'll be right back with our amazing guest. This is Rabbi Jenny talking about divine values. Stay tuned. Hi, it's Rabbi Jenny from the Rabbi Jenny Show. Are you planning a wedding, baby naming, or bar bat mitzvah? Have you recently adopted a pet, bought a new home, or opened a new business? Do you have an important anniversary coming up and would like to renew your vows? Have you recently lost a loved one and need some compassion and care through this process? These are some of the many life events that touch our lives. It is at these moments that we need a special person for guidance and compassion and care to officiate and guide us through those moments. Call me, Rabbi Jenny, at 561-346-8207 to guide you and officiate these life events. 561-346-8207. Rabbi Jenny, for personal compassion and care and loving guidance for the important events of your life. The presidential candidates are talking about it. The talk show hosts are talking about it. It's all over the news. Maybe it's time you should start talking about it. Maybe it's time for you to get help. If you or someone you love is suffering from a heroin addiction, Epiphany Resources has the solution for you. Heroin addiction manifests in an apathy and a disinterest in life. At Epiphany Resources, Rabbi Jenny and her acclaimed clinical team reignite and empower their clients to embrace life for a bright future in recovery. With groundbreaking creative and spiritual modalities combined with narrative reframing and cognitive behavioral therapy, the team at Epiphany Resources neutralize the cravings for heroin and reawaken one's desire for joy and life. It's time to talk about it. It's time to heal. It's time to recover from heroin addiction. Contact Epiphany Resources at www.etcfl.com or call 561-777-0241. Epiphany Resources. It's time to begin. The after-school hours between 2 p.m. and 7 p.m. are when millions of children go home alone or are without adult supervision. Statistics have shown that during this time, gang involvement, teenage pregnancy, and drug use begins. For the past 15 years, For the Children, Inc., a place where children come first, has been a pioneer in providing quality after-school programming for underprivileged youth aged 5 to 18 in Palm Beach County. Our children are our future. To ensure their success, they must have equal access to quality educational, personal growth, and leadership tools. For the Children, Inc. provides them all. Donate now to For the Children, Inc. at www.forthechildrenfirst.org.
This public service announcement for the Children, Inc. was brought to you by the law offices of Manjula Caladini, Esquire, concentrating in immigration law. www.immigrationassociates.net. You have been listening to Rabbi Jenny, who asks, are you ready to bring more light and love and joy into your life? A spiritually uplifting show that will change your world. Call in at 888-565-1470 or email at rabbijenny.com and share your thoughts with Rabbi Jenny. Now, back to our show.
Hey, it's Rabbi Jenny. Welcome back. I just want to tell you how much I appreciate you and how grateful I am to be able to do this show and talk to you every week. It is absolutely a very necessary hour of my life, talking to you and, lighting you up, getting you excited. I just thank you so much for tuning into the Rabbi Jenny Show. I wanted to tell you something funny because we're talking about value. Well, I was looking up things like that and everything with health insurance and everything that's going on right now. And Medicare and everything. The value of a human life is actually $50,000. That was in a recent Time magazine article. I thought that's an unusual number, and they go through all the computation. If you want to look it up, you can look up the value of a human life. $129,000 is, I think, the thing that they say in the top of the article, but they actually give us a value of 50 grand. I'm like, well, that's really not so good. And I think they use that number with computation for Medicare and all sorts of fun stuff. But it's funny, if you limit yourself by financial value, then you're limiting yourself. I think the heart is endless. The galaxy that is you, the divine energy that is you, is endless. Just like the Hubble telescope tells us about space. The outer and the inner are the same. And so if we value ourselves by the limits of financial money, material money, then there's always going to be that hard limit. But if we go in the inside, the value, it's limitless. Love is limitless. Gratitude is limitless. Our acts are limitless. And that's pretty exciting. So I want to introduce our bad mama Gemma. Rabbi Jenny. Bad. Mama Gemma. Bad mama Gemma. I am so excited today. We have Wendi. It's Weiner.
Yes.
It is. I always say the last name's wrong. I'm so excited. I have the writing guru on my show, Wendi Weiner. This is a guest who people knew when I said her name and people knew she was going. Hi, Wendi. Welcome to the show.
Hi. Thank you for having me.
Tell me who's the writing guru? Who's Wendi Weiner? Tell me who you are.
The writing guru is actually my pen name.
That's so
it's my
cool.
company name, but it's also a nickname that my parents gave to me many years ago.
It's awesome.
I am the go-to person for all the writing needs.
That's so cool. So tell us what you do. Tell us, I know you do resume building, but you called it, and when we were talking before, you call it career branding.
Yes. So I am a certified resume writer for resume writing and career coaching certifications. More of a personal branding strategist for both executives and high-level professionals. So a lot of times people come to me and they're lost in their career. They're looking to make a transition, or they're not sure if, for example, they want to practice law anymore. I get a lot of lawyers. And so what I do is an overhaul of their resume, their LinkedIn profile, a lot of times more than just their digital footprint, but it extends into biographies and things like that can best market them for their skills.
So you were a lawyer.
I was. Well, I still am. I'm still a licensed lawyer in Florida.
But you somehow shifted your whole career.
Yes. Full-time 2+ years ago.
Wow.
I practiced for 11 years,
Wow.
and I just was never happy as a lawyer. I never felt personally fulfilled. I think one of the important things that you touched on today that I really liked is the fact that you have to know your value, know what you're good at, know what you're passionate about. And for me, law was not something that ultimately, internally, I was very passionate about. I was very good at what I did, but it just did not fulfill me. And that's one thing that I always stress to all of my clients is the importance of personal fulfillment in your career.
Oh, that's so amazing. I think that it's true. What you're good at isn't necessarily what makes you shine.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like
very
you could be a
true.
very talented musician, but you may shine when you're teaching. There's the nuances of that. So talk about this idea of like career branding and some of the struggles people might have, because I know you work a lot with people who are maybe second careering it or entering the job search for the first time in a long time.
Sure. So one of the things that I focus on a lot are for high-level executives. So someone who's an executive vice president or a senior director or a C-level executive. And a lot of times they come to me and they haven't job searched in quite some time. And the way that the job search market has totally changed today is really because of the digital age that we're living in. So one of the things that's really changed is how you market yourself, this digital footprint. We hear this phrase a lot, digital branding, personal branding. If you Google those words, you'll see a lot of information out there about them. And the thing that's really changed is the fact that now people are easily accessible through social media avenues. So companies are now researching candidates. First place they go is a Google search, and they find them on LinkedIn. And if they don't have a LinkedIn profile, their chances for a job are very diminished because companies want to know who you are beyond what is in the resume, right? Because the resume is only one piece of the puzzle. So there's a lot of strategy that's involved in a job search today, and not just even the job search element, but let's say the personal branding element of a business executive who owns their own company.
Right.
Today, like for example, you can market yourself very strongly on social media. You can have a powerful LinkedIn profile. You can have a powerful digital footprint on different social media channels. And if you don't have that as a business executive and a job seeker, you're going to miss out on a lot of opportunities.
What do you I mean, like, having someone helping you with this is a big deal, because half the stuff you just said, I mean, I have to be honest. I was like, what? And I can remember the first, it's very intimidating for those of us who had the paper resume world. It is beyond intimidating. So I love the fact that there's people like Wendi who are helping with this, because a lot of people don't understand that it actually is opening a door. Like, it's actually a good thing.
Right.
This smaller world, I think. Don't you think?
It is. And one of the things that I stress a lot to clients, and I'll give you some examples of the types of clients that I typically work with, are a lot of very senior executives. They earn salaries $150,000+ a year, up to $1 million a year. They may be interviewing for a board of directors position. And a lot of times the resume is just a formality, but what now it's become is, from this work history summary of like every laundry list job and every description and job function you used to have, to now being this strategic marketing document that has to sell your value in 5 to 7 seconds, because employers look at these documents for only 5 to 7 seconds. So it's very much like the attraction to the main entree, is what a lot of times I'll say, is your resume is kind of like the appetizer and that main attraction before the actual preview to the movie. And that's something that's totally changed today, is now all of a sudden you need to entice the reader very quickly and grab their attention by having, let's say, a powerful branding statement at the beginning of a resume, a professional summary, a skills section that's not soft skills. So people don't want to see strong communication or strong interpersonal skills. They want to see things like strategic and tactical planning, business development, client building, client relationships, team leadership. Those are buzzwords that are found in job descriptions that if you don't have in your resume and it gets scanned by the software systems, your resume gets tossed in the trash. So there's different advantages to having someone like myself or another professional branding expert come in and really overhaul all of your career documents.
And when you are dealing with clients, do you think it helps to sort of come from a place, like, you think that you come from a place of sort of understanding because you shifted your own career?
Yes, very much so. I think I help them in 2 ways. One, as you know, you have a law degree and a bar license. You are trained to think totally differently.
Yeah.
So we are trained to go to a judge and make that conveying argument within 5 minutes or less. We're taught to have a roadmap in our emotions and be succinct and be direct. And so those are really important aspects of the resume writing process and the job searching process, right? Because you have to grab the reader's attention very quickly. Same thing with a bio or a LinkedIn profile. So a lot of the elements of what I use from my law degree is very relatable to what my clients are going through. And then also, obviously, the other piece is being unhappy in a career and making all this money and not being personally fulfilled. And that is actually what I talk a lot about with my clients. Is I'm very honest, I'm very transparent. I had the 6-figure salary, the company car, I had the 401k. And at the end of the day, you can have all of these things and these great material possessions, but if they don't personally fulfill you and make you feel more valuable, it's not worth it.
And did you know, I mean, I think we'll talk about this more in the next segment, but how did you, was your unhappiness, did you know you were unhappy?
I knew for a very long time.
Yeah.
I just kept switching to different law firms. I said, if I go to a smaller firm or to a bigger firm or to in-house or to work, for a different type of solo practitioner, that every time I would move to a different place, I was looking for something that just didn't exist for me within the legal profession. And by admission, I worked in litigation for 11 years, and litigation is very contentious. I did a lot of appellate work, and a lot of brief writing, but litigation is very contentious. It's very adversarial. So every day I'm dealing with nasty emails from contentious opposing counsels, and at the end of the day, it wasn't what I wanted.
And it's all about learning to know yourself. And I think that when people are looking for a career or job change, you got to start to learn and know yourself. There's some value in that. So if you know that
Right.
you're not I always say I can't fight for stuff I don't believe in. That's why I never was able to practice, unless it was public interest, because unless I believe in it, I'll fight to the
Right.
death if I believe in it. But if not, I'm like waving the
Right.
white flag, right?
Right.
But I know myself. So like knowing yourself as a writer and being able to express yourself in the service of others, that probably just shifted everything for you.
It did. And, I grew my career and my name very fast in the industry because I was passionate about it. I'm passionate about everything I write. And I don't just write about career stuff. I write a lot about personal development and self-growth. And because I've always been that type of writer, I had a blog for a very long time about my running journey. I ran 2 marathons. And I think for me, that sort of like pushed me into fearlessly chasing my own dreams. And I very much believe and subscribe to that belief that if you are personally fulfilled in your career, your personal life will shift in a different direction as well.
Powerful, powerful stuff. Wendi, what's your website?
Sure. It's www.writingguru.net.
Wow. I'm so excited. We're leading it. You got to stay in for this one because you make a change in your career. You're passionate. And oh my God, come back. It's Wendi and Rabbi Jenny. We'll be back talking about your divine value. The presidential candidates are talking about it. The talk show hosts are talking about it. It's all over the news. Maybe it's time you should start talking about it. Maybe it's time for you to get help. If you or someone you love is suffering from a heroin addiction, Epiphany Resources has the solution for you. Heroin addiction manifests in an apathy and a disinterest in life. At Epiphany Resources, Rabbi Jenny and her acclaimed clinical team reignite and empower their clients to embrace life for a bright future in recovery. With groundbreaking creative and spiritual modalities combined with narrative reframing and cognitive behavioral therapy, the team at Epiphany Resources neutralize the cravings for heroin and reawaken one's desire for joy and life. It's time to talk about it. It's time to heal. It's time to recover from heroin addiction. Contact Epiphany Resources at www.etcfl.com or call 561-777-0241. Epiphany Resources. It's time to begin. The after-school hours between 2 p.m. and 7 p.m. are when millions of children go home alone or are without adult supervision. Statistics have shown that during this time, gang involvement, teenage pregnancy, and drug use begins. For the past 15 years, For the Children, Inc., a place where children come first, has been a pioneer in providing quality after-school programming for underprivileged youth aged 5 to 18 in Palm Beach County. Our children are our future. To ensure their success, they must have equal access to quality educational, personal growth, and leadership tools. For the Children, Inc. provides them all. Donate now to For the Children, Inc. at www.forthechildrenfirst.org.
This public service announcement for the Children, Inc. was brought to you by the law offices of Manjula Caladini, Esquire, concentrating in immigration law. www.immigrationassociates.net.
Hi, it's Rabbi Jenny from the Rabbi Jenny Show. Are you planning a wedding, baby naming, or bar bat mitzvah? Have you recently adopted a pet, bought a new home, or opened a new business? Do you have an important anniversary coming up and would like to renew your vows? Have you recently lost a loved one and need some compassion and care through this process? These are some of the many life events that touch our lives. It is at these moments that we need a special person for guidance and compassion and care to officiate and guide us through those moments. Call me, Rabbi Jenny, at 561-346-8207 to guide you and officiate these life events. 561-346-8207. Rabbi Jenny, for personal compassion and care and loving guidance for the important events of your life.
You have been listening to Rabbi Jenny, who asks, are you ready to bring more light and love and joy into your life? A spiritually uplifting show that will change your world. Call in at 888-565-1470 or email at rabbijenny.com and share your thoughts with Rabbi Jenny. Now, back to our show.
Hey, it's Rabbi Jenny. Welcome back. We're here with Wendi Weiner, the writing guru. We are so excited to be here. We're going to play the value game, Wendi. You ready?
I'm ready.
We're going to work with the word value because you're my wordsmith over here. So let's start with the letter V. And what can you think of a word for people to start thinking about when they think about their value? You got a V word for me?
So I think vibrant. You want to have a good vibrancy about yourself, because when you're vibrant about yourself, people feel that positive energy channeling through.
Love it. Love it. Oh, my goodness. Vibrant. We're going to remember that. Okay. All right.
A, accepting. You have to accept yourself for who you are and what you want to be.
Preach, girl. All right. Vibrant, accepting. Let's see. We got an L word.
L word, love. You got to love yourself and love
I already
those
took that
around
one.
you.
You got to give us another one.
Oh, okay.
Go on, girl.
You want to be likable.
Likable.
That's a very important word.
Beautiful. Okay, you ready? You. This was a tough one for me, so I want to see what you come up with.
Understanding.
Oh, I did that already. Come on, come on, wordsmith. It's a hard one, isn't it?
I have to think of it. It's hard.
Understanding might be that powerful, though, that we can use it.
I think understanding is a good one, because you really have to do a lot of introspective thinking, and I think understanding who you are and what you stand for is important in learning your value.
Yes, absolutely. And E.
E, existential, because you have to be able to think beyond your own personal existence.
Oh, my goodness. This is quite a chick we got here on the Rabbi
I was
Jenny
gonna
Show.
say, I was gonna try to use a noun such as umbrella for your
umbrella.
For you,
you know,
because you got to shield yourself from any negativity.
See, I knew it.
I thought that was good.
I knew. So I want to talk to you about this topic of value and how we sometimes compare ourselves to other people. Do you have a time in your life that you can remember as a woman that you constantly looked at other women or compared yourself to what people had or what they looked like? And share with our listeners, because a lot of our listeners love to have that personal.
So for me, I felt like I did not recognize my value when I was practicing law. And one of the hardest parts for me was recognizing that I was smart, I was talented, I was gifted, but that I didn't really focus in on what made me happy. So a lot of times I would look to other lawyers and see what they were doing and that they were thriving in their careers, and that from the outside they seemed really happy. And I always felt for myself like, what's missing? What am I doing wrong? Why am I not achieving more? I would see a lot of my friends making partner and moving on to bigger and better, greener pastures in their careers. And for me, I felt like I was sort of slacking, though to an outside person, I was uber successful. That could be another U word.
Yeah, Uber. Wait a minute, Uber. I like it.
So for me, it was more about, feeling underwhelmed as a lawyer, but constantly comparing myself to other people. Like, why would other people, do better? I've actually struggled a lot with my weight and health problems. I have thyroid problems. So for me, I would always look to the next person, like, why do they have such an easier time losing weight? Or, they can go on a diet and they can lose, 20 pounds in a month, and then I can lose 20 pounds in 2 years. It would just take me a lot longer. So what I realized along the way is you have to stop comparing yourself. Everyone is on their own journey. And I'll never forget this, because so I ran 2 marathons, and I remember joining this really accelerated advanced running team in South Florida called Runners Depot Training Team. And I had a great coach who's run 10 plus Boston marathons. She's amazing. And I hope she's listening. But I joined this advanced running group. And one of the things that was really crazy for me is that the people in the group are running 7-8 minute miles, and I was running 13-14 minute miles.
Right here, 14 minutes.
And I would constantly compare myself. Like, I was the slowest runner in the group, but no one in that group ever made me feel that I was any less of a runner because I didn't qualify for the Boston Marathon, or that I was any less of a runner because I ran slower. In fact, they were so encouraging. It was all about camaraderie. And I think that a big part of life and knowing your value is surrounding yourself by people who appreciate you, accept you, understand you, all those elements, right? Vibrancy, all those things that we sort of just honed in on. And I think that a lot of times we tend to undervalue who we are, and we tend to be our own worst critics when the world sees us totally differently. So even though internally I saw myself as a slow runner, the other people didn't. They saw me as this incredibly inspirational person who was ambitious and a real go-getter. The same thing with my career, my legal career. I felt so underwhelmed that when I left practicing law, I had a few naysayers. I had a few people who said, oh, why, you went to writing resumes, you were making six figures as a lawyer. Why would you leave the practice of law? You were doing so well. You had an in-house attorney role. And for me, it did not make me happy. So I'm a big subscriber in the belief that you can't think about what other people, question, or you can't actually, subscribe to the belief that you're not good enough because you don't meet societal standards. You are your own person. Never undervalue who you are. I'm a big proponent, following your happiness, following your passion. That's actually pretty much a paradigm of what I preach to my clients.
That's amazing. It's amazing. And I hope lots of people are listening. And if you are feeling challenged about making a big change or taking a small, taking a step or going outside the box, people need outside the box people. I think that if Wendi didn't leave, there's probably a lot of your clients that would have had much harder time finding a job or adjusting to technology, or they needed you to get outside the box.
Right. Because remember, a lot of these people that I'm dealing with are actually coming out, 15, 20 years from a company that they've been so accustomed to working day in and day out. And then they've all of a sudden reached the ceiling in the company and they don't know where else to go. There's no more room for growth, right? So I've had people who have been at companies for 15 to 17 years and they've moved up the ranks, but now it's time for something new. And a lot of times, one of my biggest beliefs is that life begins outside of your comfort zone and you need to challenge yourself to see what else is out there.
I think so. I mean, if you're not uncomfortable, that means you're not changing, and that's not good. I always say, like, life is an up and down, up and down, up and down, and you don't want it to be very drastic, but if it's like this, there's only one line, and we all know what that means. You're not above ground. So you have to be uncomfortable. You have to be growing. And birth is messy. Right? It's really, really messy. Growth is messy. A lot of clients go to the gym. You obviously go to the gym. You're a runner. So we all know that when we lift weights, if you do it and you don't feel anything, nothing happens.
Right. I think also another big part of knowing your value too is balance. That's one thing that took me a long time to realize in my life, even as a lawyer and an entrepreneur, is that I don't take a lot of personal time for myself. So, this morning before I had a very important phone call, I wound up going and actually, spending the time for myself, whether it was 25, 30 minutes on the elliptical machine, because that's my time, listening to my music, kind of, zoning out the outside world. And that, for me, was much better.
Oh, that's so important. That's so important. So how does one get in touch with you, Wendi? They go right to writingguru.net? Is there a phone?
So what I do for every person that comes to my website is they have the ability to upload their resume. So you can go to www.writingguru.net, or even if you Google the Writing Guru, you'll see my publications and my name come up. And book a 30-minute consultation with me. I don't do a sales pitch. That's not my personality whatsoever. I actually spend 30-plus minutes with each person that contacts me, going through their resume, their career history, their LinkedIn profile, to help propel them to possibly make a career change, or even to enhance their value to see where they could go next in their career.
And do you have testimonials on the website?
I do, but the best place to look for testimonials is by Googling my name, because you'll see I have Google reviews, Yelp reviews, reviews on LinkedIn. That's another great thing about LinkedIn, is that it allows you to have written recommendations, whereas, in the old days, you'd have to have a personal reference call in for you. But now, once you have all that stuff put out there on the internet, it becomes your digital footprint. So it's a great way for people to make references and recommendations for you as well.
Where would you like to challenge yourself now? Like, if you talk about, like, where do you see, more room for Wendi to stretch your value?
Sure. So actually a big dream of mine is to do a TEDx talk. I have been sort of making headway into trying to get into that speaking space because I want to share my story. I believe that it's really important to sort of be able to reinvent yourself and to look internally and say, I did this on my own. I, didn't listen to the naysayers. I listened to my own positive self-talk. And so I actually want to share that. I want to do more speaking engagements and speak to the legal community. I actually wrote an article for the Huffington Post that went viral in August 2016 called How I Used My Law Degree to Get Out of Law. And one of the interesting things about it is that it resonated with so many thousands of lawyers who reached out to me, because a lot of lawyers are unhappy in their careers. So I want to help more lawyers be able to find and navigate their way through the legal profession. You don't have to be a practicing attorney to make money, to be successful by leveraging your law degree.
Well, and the JD, I know my own. I've never, ever, as a woman in the 90s, I never regretted getting it, because it really did set me in a level where I earned a lot of respect. You know, the law degree in itself wasn't essentially what has happened for me, because I was in public service. I worked for the government. I ran, DCF, big programs. It took me to a place of, a certain level of past the master's degree, where with my male counterparts, there was an instant level of respect. You'll love this story, Wendi. When I went to seminary and became a rabbi, I remember that when I went back to be a chaplain in an institution, all the male people that I work with, the counselors that I work with, couldn't care less about me being a rabbi. But when they saw my law degree, there was an instant leveling of, oh, well, she must know what she's talking about. So it's about seeing things in a different way, putting the pieces together, not in a traditional way.
I agree with you. And that's what I tell a lot of lawyers who want to get out of practicing law, is that your law degree is extremely valuable to the business world. And I get more clients, and I've grown my name immensely because of my law degree, because I was an attorney for 11 plus years, because I was in corporate America at a high executive level. And I think it's important because the law degree positions you in such a different way. Your analytical skills, your problem solving skills, your communication skills, all the things that we utilize day to day and leverage day to day. I mean, we're great at writing business plans. I think, the law degree has helped me even become a better business owner as a result. There are things that many newer resume writers or career coaches struggle with in their business, but I don't, because of that law degree, because I was trained to think totally differently. So,
and from every angle. One of the things when I teach spirituality for lawyers, it's about that we think a little bit too much. But I love that we can think from every angle, and I can always see, I can put the pieces together in a million different ways because of that training. Wendi Weiner, it has been so exciting for you to have you here on the Rabbi Jenny Show. You can find Wendi at the Writing Guru, www.writingguru.net, and also just look up Writing Guru. She's all over there. I've already looked it up. And you're going to hang out for the last little piece?
Sure.
This is Rabbi Jenny. Stay tuned. We'll be right back with the jam. The after-school hours between 2 p.m. and 7 p.m. are when millions of children go home alone or are without adult supervision. Statistics have shown that during this time, gang involvement, teenage pregnancy, and drug use begins. For the past 15 years, For the Children, Inc., a place where children come first, has been a pioneer in providing quality after-school programming for underprivileged youth aged 5 to 18 in Palm Beach County. Our children are our future. To ensure their success, they must have equal access to quality educational, personal growth, and leadership tools. For the Children, Inc. provides them all. Donate now to For the Children, Inc. at www.forthechildrenfirst.org.
This public service announcement for the Children, Inc. was brought to you by the law offices of Manjula Caladini, Esquire, concentrating in immigration law. www.immigrationassociates.net.
Hi, it's Rabbi Jenny from the Rabbi Jenny Show. Are you planning a wedding, baby naming, or bar bat mitzvah? Have you recently adopted a pet, bought a new home, or opened a new business? Do you have an important anniversary coming up and would like to renew your vows? Have you recently lost a loved one and need some compassion and care through this process? These are some of the many life events that touch our lives. It is at these moments that we need a special person for guidance and compassion and care to officiate and guide us through those moments. Call me, Rabbi Jenny, at 561-346-8207 to guide you and officiate these life events. 561-346-8207. Rabbi Jenny, for personal compassion and care and loving guidance for the important events of your life. The presidential candidates are talking about it. The talk show hosts are talking about it. It's all over the news. Maybe it's time you should start talking about it. Maybe it's time for you to get help. If you or someone you love is suffering from a heroin addiction, Epiphany Resources has the solution for you. Heroin addiction manifests in an apathy and a disinterest in life. At Epiphany Resources, Rabbi Jenny and her acclaimed clinical team reignite and empower their clients to embrace life for a bright future in recovery. With groundbreaking creative and spiritual modalities combined with narrative reframing and cognitive behavioral therapy, the team at Epiphany Resources neutralize the cravings for heroin and reawaken one's desire for joy and life. It's time to talk about it. It's time to heal. It's time to recover from heroin addiction. Contact Epiphany Resources at www.etcfl.com or call 561-777-0241. Epiphany Resources. It's time to begin.
You have been listening to Rabbi Jenny, who asks, are you ready to bring more light and love and joy into your life? A spiritually uplifting show that will change your world. Call in at 888-565-1470 or email at rabbijenny.com and share your thoughts with Rabbi Jenny. Now, back to our show.
Welcome back. It's Rabbi Jenny. We are here on the Rabbi Jenny Show talking about your divine value. I want to remind you of something before we get to the Joy Jar Challenge, that next weekend, March 24th, 25th, and 26th, if you want to have the time of your life, I'm flying in Pastor Christy Snow. We have Maya Malay. We have Dr. Maya. We have amazing women. We're doing a huge conference at the Duncan Center. We have a few spots left. You can give me a call at 561-346-8207, or you can contact me on Facebook. Be a part of this fantastic event. We're going to bring down that feminine energy, baby, to the planet to change things. I look forward to seeing and spending time with you. So it is time for the Joy Jar Challenge.
Joy, 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 joy. It's Adeline Gobergstein, and it's time for the Rabbi Jenny Ridiculous Joy Jar Challenge.
Hi, who's on the phone?
Hi, this is Victoria calling.
Hey, Victoria, what's up?
Not much.
You got 10 things that make you joyful?
Absolutely. I do have 10 things. So should I go ahead and just list them all for you?
List them for me, baby.
Okay. All right. So number one is my boyfriend, my fabulous boyfriend, Ryan, who I've been with for about 4 years now. Nobody puts a bigger smile on my face than him. He's my best friend, and I love him to death. Number two is my family. I have an amazing family. I love spending time with them. We're somewhat spread out at this point. I have a sister in Chicago, a brother in North Carolina, but looking forward to the holidays all year long, for time that I'm able to spend with them. Number three, I have an amazing group of friends. I actually live in a house with four of my best friends. Sorority house, you could call it if you would. And,
that's awesome.
And, I love them. Love them to death. We do a lot of great things together. Moving on, number four, days like today, living in South Florida.
Oh, my God.
Winters, slightly chilly, but sunny, cloudless,
it's awesome.
Beautiful blue skies. Yeah, it's amazing. So love this type of weather. Number five, I love to pamper myself. I love massages, manicures, pedicures. That's something that always, makes me happy whenever I'm able to get a chance to myself. Love to pamper myself. Another thing that makes me extremely happy is traveling. Whether it's, hitting the slopes in Breckenridge or the beach in Cabo. I do love traveling with friends, with family, with my boyfriend, whoever it may be. Another thing that makes me very happy is paying it forward. Recently, with the company I work for, the huge fitness corporation that is Orange Theory, we were able to raise over $2 million for Augie's Quest, which is raises money to help find a cure for ALS.
Wonderful.
And that was just really awesome. We were able to put different workouts together in different fundraisers, and within a 2-week period, we raised over $2 million. So that's certainly something that makes me happy, is paying it forward whatever way possible, whether it's giving or lending a hand. Another thing that makes me very happy is, spending time with good company, whether it's at dinner events or with holidays. Love to just have a good time. Another thing that makes me happy, a guilty pleasure of mine, is chocolate. I do love chocolate.
Why guilty? It's good. Not
it
guilty.
It's good.
It's
Dark
good.
Is my favorite. Milk chocolate, white chocolate, I love it all. But if there's one of my vices more than anything else, my biggest weakness is chocolate. So that really makes me happy. And last but not least, number 10 on my list is working out, sweat therapy. I love to run. I love to work out. It's what I've, made a living out of. I work for Orange Theory Fitness, and I love working out. It clears my mind. It puts a smile on my face. If I am ever in not the best mood, it's usually because I haven't worked out that day. So that is sort of my therapy. It brings me clarity. It brings me peace of mind, and I love to work out.
And is that what you've come to push on the Rabbi Jenny Show?
That is what I've absolutely come to push on the Rabbi Jenny Show. Is
So give
Orange
us a
Theory
give us a
Fitness.
phone number and a website for you, Victoria.
Okay, so I work for Orange Theory Fitness out in West Boca Raton. Our number is 561-488-1955. We're located out on the corner of Lyons and Glades in West Boca. Our address is 8903 Glades Road, Boca Raton, Florida, 33434. And if you are interested in coming out for a session, your first session is always free, and you can go ahead and get that booked by stopping in, paying us a visit, giving us a call, or visiting us on our website, which is orangetheoryfitness.com.
Oh, Victoria, thank you for all you do. Wonderful, wonderful energy. Have a joyful, beautiful Florida evening.
Thank you so much. Yes, I will be enjoying this weather and a little bit longer today for daylight savings.
I know. Thank you. Thank you. All right, my dear. Have a great one.
Thank you. All
right.
You too. Have a good one.
All right. Bye-bye. All right. Okay. It's time for the jam. Yo, yo, yo.
Jam.
Jam. All right. Let me see. I think. Oh, here we go. So love, you're worth plenty. So love, you're worth plenty. So love, you're worth plenty to God. You gotta listen up. Ready? Intrinsic, exquisite, the light in your soul, the fire that burns, ignited and whole, a piece of the goodness that's inside us all, ready to shine bright and answer the call. No price to be paid, no cost to be had. Above or below, the value in that heart and that mind is giant soul love, a force to be harnessed, what you are made of. Soul love, you're worth plenty. Soul love, you're worth plenty. Soul love, you're worth plenty to God. Listen up, ready? Our guest said this. Don't compare or decide on material things. The value inside is the great offering, equal to all and lesser than none. You're worth everything, just like everyone. No price to be paid, no cost to be had. Above or below, there's a value in that. Heart in that, mind in that giant soul love. A force to be harnessed, what you are made of. Soul love, you're worth plenty. Soul love, you're worth plenty. So love, you're worth plenty to God. I did it. I said it. I said it. The G word. I said the God word. It is the Rabbi Jenny Show, my friends. Okay, tune in. All right, so I want to just say a few words before we sign off on the Rabbi Jenny Show. I need to remind you, first of all, of our guest, Wendi Weiner, the writingguru.net. Check her out, okay? Also check out Orange Theory Fitness, who called in. Thank you, Victoria. But I also want to remind you, next weekend, the 24th, 25th, and 26th, you can go and join me at the Awakening the Sacred Feminine Conference. We're going to let go of all our female ideas, bring in all new ideas. You're going to write your own chants. You're going to learn Qigong. It's going to be absolutely amazing. So contact me here at the RabbiJenny.tv, the Rabbi Jenny Show on Facebook. I also want to remind you of our topic today, that you are valuable. Let's do the value, the letter game, that you are valuable. So instead of judging yourself, folks, on the outside, you're going to think of what Wendi and I talked to you about today. These qualities is how you're going to try to judge your own value and your worth. And just try for today. Noticing all the times you're hard on yourself for how you look, or that you don't look like that person, you don't act like that person. Who cares? God only made one of you, my friend. One. There's a reason for that. Flowers look the same, leaves look the same, everything looks the same, but God only made one you, okay? So you could shine exactly as you are. All right, so we got vibrancy. We want to be bright. We want to be voracious. We want to be truthful and speak our truth. We want to adapt to situations and accept situations quickly so we can bring love and light and be likable. We want to be understanding, but we want to be like an umbrella and shield ourselves and be uber, uber, uber fabulous for our you. And we want to be, I love this, existential, not too existential. We want to keep our feet on the ground so we can endure and have empathy for others. This is a very, very exciting Rabbi Jenny Show. It's challenged me to speak quite a bit. I want to remind you how much I adore you. I want to remind you of how much you have to do. So if there is something calling to you, some huge change calling to you in your life, I want to encourage you. Oh, encouraging. That's an E word. I want to encourage you today to know your true value, just like Torah says. Every person, no matter rich or poor, puts in that half a shekel. That's it. We're all equal in the eyes of God. The laws of attraction, the laws of emotion, laws of feeling, the laws of what is above, what is below, the law of gravity, all of these things apply to us equally. That means the playing field's open, you know? And I have to give you this quote from Dr. Seuss. Dr. Seuss, thank you, Dr. Seuss, right? Dr. Seuss says, a person's a person no matter how small, right? No matter how small. A person's a person after all. I think that's from Horton, right? Right? Horton, here's a who. So this is Rabbi Jenny. We're going to sign off here. We're going to remind you. Oh, also, if you have a family member suffering from substance abuse, please to etcfl.com. Very passionate about that heroin epidemic. And I don't know. I think we're done here. Just shine and remember you are worth a lot.
You have been listening and lighting up your life with Rabbi Jenny. Join us next week for another session of love, light, and joy as Rabbi Jenny takes life to the next level. Are you ready? Rabbi Jenny says the time is now.